Hey folks, this is Tony from Campfire and Countryside. So today I have got a 55-gallon drum that my wife rounded up from somewhere, and I want to use this drum and cut this drum out to make a fire pit or some type of portable fire pit that we can take with us. So I've got a design in my head, or a plan in my head, that I want to cut it off somewhere in this neighborhood and then cut a notch out of the front of it to be able to load wood in it. And if I can cut it off up to here, then maybe we can use the grating that we got off the top of that gas stove that I mystically found laying around, and use that for a rack that we can put under our fire pit and let this thing double as not only a fire pit, but also as a heating source for our stove. Okay, so before I start cutting it, I'm going to take a highlighter or a marker, and I'm going to mark this thing off to give me a pretty straight line. Of course, we're going to cut it. We're going to lay it over on the side, and we're going to cut it real close to this line. I want to leave this ridge on top of it for stability. With it already having that ridge on top, it'll make this thing extremely strong from the cut section. Now the last section, who knows? But from here down, if I cut on this side of this ring, this thing will be extremely strong. So I think I probably don't need to mark it, since I can use the ring itself as a mark. So got all my PPE on. I have my headphones on. I have some safety glasses on. And hang on one second and let me find some gloves. All right, so I've got the Sawzall ready, and I have a metal cutting Sawzall blade in the Sawzall, battery operated Sawzall. I am going to see if this thing will cut, and it's going to be extremely loud, so you guys hang on. Very nice. Y'all didn't know anything about those master Sawzall skills, but we got the drum cut off. It's cut a little bit above the ring. I'm going to take a grinder and I'm going to smooth it up, and I'm going to clean it up and get it where it don't cut us. So y'all stay tuned. Okay, people, I've got the old grinder out. I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to clean up the sharp edge around the top. And then we're going to figure out what this notch is going to look like that we're going to cut in the top of this drum. Okay. Got most of the burr off of it, and it's a pretty clean cut. So now I'm going to take a minute and figure out how I want to cut this notch out. How big do I want the notch? Because I want my stability to stay here. And what do y'all think about if I leave the ring on the top and cut the notch out like this? Leave the ring on for stability, cut it down to that ring, and we'll use this square to load wood in and out of the little smoke pit. So this way we can take this thing on the truck. It'll be manageable. I can, on the two sides, I can make me a couple of hand holes, and yeah, I think that's going to work great. So let's look at this thing, figure out how we can make us a way to load us some wood on here, and how big do we need that hole. So let me get it on the ground. So we're fixing to make us a fine fire pit, or we're fixing to waste a very good 55-gallon drum, one of the two. Okay, I don't think it's gonna let me turn the curve, so I may have to just square it off. FYI, if you're ever gonna use a Sawzall, cut out a steel drum with, definitely wear your PPE, wear your headphones for sound, wear your glasses, but don't wear shorts. Shorts may have been the bad idea because I've had like several metal sparks to hit me, and I almost gave it to it just a second ago when that one landed on top of my bare ankle. All right, let's cut this other side out. Don't know why the guard fell off the Sawzall. I think it's got a set screw, maybe. That looks like it may have fallen out. So since we're through using the Sawzall, we'll hunt the set screw in a minute. Okay, my people, I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to clean up the wood insert portion of the fire pit. So from this point, then I can make a handhold in each side, one here and one here, and that way I can lift it and place it on the back of the truck when we go camping, and then we don't have to worry about if we can find rocks, or we don't have to worry about leaving ashes on the ground. Once we get through building our fires, we can leave the ashes inside the can and bring them back home. I have a place down here from our fire pit that we dump ashes or shovel out ashes. So I can shovel them into there, and then we can help keep the environment clean or the campsite clean, and ashes won't be an issue. Okay folks, so I have not only got the bottom cut out, got the insert to put the wood in, but I've also got holes drilled all the way around the bottom to intake air to make the fire burn. Not only that, but I took the lid that came off of the barrel, and do you remember the grating off the top of the old gas stove, and we said we were going to figure out a way to use it? I cut the impression of that old grating off that gas stove out of the top of this drum. So now I can put wood in the front hole, build a fire, and I can use the heat off of that fire up on top of this grating to set pots on top of, and to put maybe some type of frying pan. And I have a cast iron steak heater or cooker that we're also going to use that can sit on top of that thing. So now we have converted a 55-gallon drum into a very fine makeshift fire pit that we can contain the ashes and take with us, keep the campsite clean, but also with the grating on top. I told you I was going to use that grating, but also now we have the grating where it can be used for the top or the cook plate on the stove. If y'all also like this idea, give me a thumbs up, and thanks again for y'all watching. Let's go have an adventure.